pleasure to have with me today Shamik Sharma, who heads up digital new initiatives and ventures at Cure.fit. Cure.fit, of course, have come such an incredible way in these past few years and are now one of the preeminent, not just Asian, but worldwide brands looking at health, fitness and wellness. Shamik, a very good morning to you. Now, long before this pandemic started, Cure.fit were investing large into digital services. Reflecting back on a very challenging year in 2020, but what were some of the highlights for you?
Yeah, so it's being in the fitness business, 2020 has obviously been a challenging year for us, as it has been for many other players. Cure.fit runs a large chain of fitness centers, group classes in India. And we had about 250 of these centers all closed down for many, many months here, and now starting to open up. So this was obviously a hard, business, difficult business times for us. But thankfully, we have always had a parallel digital initiative going on as well, where people can also work out from home and avail of all of our other digital services. We are a holistic wellness player, so we also offer many other services. And we, quickly started ramping up and offering all of these digital services and much more to much wider audiences and so on in 2020. And that has really helped the company reposition itself as a digital first company. And now, we get, even as our fitness centers have started opening up, we still have probably, more users using our digital products than our offline products. And going forward, we expect that this will always remain a healthy mix.
Now, you have such a rich library of content, Shamik. What were some of the surprises and what were some of the maybe perhaps unsurprising events when people were digesting your content? What trends did you expect and what trends were quite surprising?
Yeah, so, the surprising elements were, mostly logistical, right? We had always aimed our digital products at trying to target a new audience that doesn't come into offline centers. We weren't originally targeting this as an add-on product to our offline centers, because people who come to our offline centers already come in about 15 times a month, right? So they're already, well into their fitness regimes, and the uptake of digital products tends to be less. But we had always felt that there's a large set of users who just don't want to come into a fitness center, and there's a multitude of reasons why. It could be logistical, just that, I have small kids at home, I can't leave them with somebody. It could be that there's no good fitness center nearby, that just the density of the population is not good enough to be able to support a fitness center. It could be things like, I don't have a car to drive over to the fitness center, or I just don't have time enough to be able to drive there, go and change and all of that. I just want to work out from home. So we'd always been targeting our digital products at this audience, the audience that just for various reasons is not able to go into a fitness center. And that was not surprising. Most of our audience today is and will continue to be this, right? But what was surprising to us is that the use cases are actually much more varied than we had even imagined, right? So a lot of people use us as an add-on, right? So they either walk outside or they run outside, they go swimming or they go biking and so on. And sometimes you don't feel like it, right? You just want something different. So a lot of users use us as that, a change during the week, because there's so many formats. The variety is so much more digitally, right? You can do a dance class, you can do yoga, you can do boxing, you can do various things. And whatever catches your fancy, you might do it for a week, 2 weeks, and then you move on to another format. So this is hard to do offline, just because any one center can only support a certain amount of variety at any given place, right? So that, I think, was a surprise, and hence the pricing has to be reflecting of that this is an add-on product for many users, not for all users. Some users just use it as exclusively, but there are many users who use it as an add-on to whatever else they were doing, right? And the second thing was, the social dynamics are very different digitally than they are, physically in an offline center. People don't want to, there's a lot of content online. So that's not, just having, great content online doesn't work. what people are looking for is the feeling that I'm doing this with other real live people right now, right? So the scheduling of things at 6:30, at 7, at 7:30, make sure that all the people join the class at the same time and have the same experience, right? And so there's leaderboards, there's shout outs, there is, that feeling that, okay, how did I do at the end of the class compared to others? All of that brings about a sense of, I'm not alone in this journey, and this is a community working out with me. That is a very significant phenomena, right? And it's something that the product continues to enhance, and things that we are doubling down on, just enhancing those social aspects, right? These were some of the learnings. I mean, the other things, just internally, being able to shoot content during COVID, getting celebrities to work out from their own homes and apartments, arranging lighting, when it's when people are not allowed to venture outside. These are all just logistical content production challenges that have been quite interesting for us to solve during this year. Hopefully things will be much better, and the road forward will be much easier than it has been.
Now, fitness, of course, Shamik, has come in quite late to the digital content space. Other industries like big tech, entertainment, for example, have been in this space for quite some time. They're veterans, if you will, at producing really solid, engaging, and quite sticky digital content strategies. What can we as an industry learn from some of the other industries that have been doing this for a longer period of time?
Yeah. So actually, it's a very good question. When you look back at, old movies, right? There used to be one or just a few cameras, and then people would just kind of try to make sure that they are within the camera zone and, acting in a very constrained manner. I see current fitness content and production values and, editing and so on to be still in that very early zone of content production. Whereas, a movie direction mindset to fitness content production is slowly coming into the industry, but it would include things like, large numbers of cameras, dollies that allow, you to move forward and backward, zooming in, panning, smoother transitions, scripting, for example, in a movie, right, they focus a lot on the script, on the music, on the background, imagery, all of that, right? Editing. These are all relatively in their infancy right now in the fitness content industry. So I think there's a long way to go for us to really, really improve the production value and kind of immerse you into the experience, right? So this is all, I think the next few years of innovation that will happen in the fitness content, and we have a lot to learn from the movie industry in creating that kind of content. From the tech side, there are 2-3 things I think that are very important. Number one is how the tech industry has figured out to bring social feelings and emotions. We're now all addicted to social media, and what's happening is that there's a little bunch of social cues that implicitly drag you back into the social media apps, because you feel, okay, maybe I'm missing out something if I don't, check my WhatsApp or check my Facebook and so on. As a fitness industry, this is actually, that I think is unhealthy, but we can use that, the same, phenomena and tricks and ways of building habits in a good way to actually make fitness more habitual, right? So you feel like you're missing out if your 3 friends are going to be working out at the 6:30 class and you're going to be not there, and maybe they're going to talk about something, or someone is going to hit a milestone and you want to be there to witness it, or you want to beat them, etc. Right? So those kinds of social, gamification, if you will, has to be adopted from some of the big tech companies. Another big area is personalization, right? Right now, most of our digital content is one size fits all, whereas, that's not how Facebook works. Your Facebook feed is completely different from mine, and even your Google News is completely different than mine, right? So the class experience, the content has to get more and more personalized, so that what you're watching might be that the underlay is the same movie, but, the overlays are all different, right? So that is another big area that I think is coming.
Another big area, of course, Shamik, has been the explosion of corporate wellness over the past couple of years, and no doubt the pandemic has sharpened people's focus on the need for employee health and well-being. What are your thoughts on this marketplace? Where are Cure.fit investing into corporate wellness, and how much potential does this market have for you?
This is a huge market, right? So far in many places across the world, and corporate programs have typically meant health insurance, right? That's where they mostly spend. But this last year has exposed, the need for a lot more support than just, providing health insurance, right? So mental wellness is a huge area of focus for most corporate. Is top of mind for many of them, because when people are not socializing, alone at home, the social dynamics are very different. The mental wellness issues are actually exploding, right? And they don't have to, exacerbate themselves into depression or clinical therapy type situations. It's just there's a lower level of, ambient mental unwellness that that affects productivity and so on, right? And besides this, consultations with doctors have gone down just because people are not going out as much. They're not taking care of stuff. There is health checkups have gone down. So overall, just wellness, people haven't in the last year taken care of themselves as much as, they would have otherwise. So corporates are very receptive right now to the idea of wellness. And I think this is a trend that's here to stay, right? Because, once your eyes have been opened to the problem, right, you tend not to blind yourself after that, right? So just like, health insurance companies, let's say a Kaiser or a Blue Shield or so on, have always kind of offered a package of offerings which say, okay, no matter what kind of, surgery you need and all of that, it's all there inside this insurance package. I think mental wellness, wellness in general is headed in that same direction. Corporates want one player to offer them fitness, healthy food access, health checkups, mental wellness programs, nutrition consulting, even sports and sportswear and equipment and all of that, right? So our focus has been to create this umbrella offering which says, okay, we are a holistic wellness provider, and if you as a corporate want to take care of the wellness of all your employees, here is a bouquet of all-encompassing services that you can offer. And it's all tightly stitched together, so people don't feel like they have to hunt and peck for different providers to get what they want. We just make it seamless for you. I think that model of offerings is getting a lot of adoption.
Yeah, it's one we're tracking an awful lot, Shamik. There's so many new players coming to that marketplace, but of course, getting that holistic offering is very challenging, but the reward is definitely there on the horizon for those that are investing. Speaking of investing, 2020 also saw you on the acquisition trail, and you acquired a company called Onyx. Can you share a little bit more about that company and where it fits in with your long-term plan?
Yeah. So one of our ambitions has always been to become a global player. We have started out with India as well. But last year we focused a lot more on digital offerings, and now we have a great suite of digital services. The good thing about digital services is that they're not constrained to a particular geography or locality. So we have been, over the last year, been progressively offering more and more of our digital services in the US and other markets as well. And the Onyx acquisition was mostly a tech and IP-based acquisition. They have some amazing tech for doing computer vision-based recognition of your postures, rep counting, and so on, being able to detect your form. And this tech is very useful for many formats like yoga, strength and conditioning, even dance, right? So we felt it is both a great team and great IP that we are then merging into our existing set of products to make them better. By the way, we've also recently made another acquisition called Fraternity, which is a fitness center aggregator in India. And we're equally bullish about that. Right now, obviously, the fitness center market is hurting. But as things bounce back, I think a more consolidation is apparent across the world. There will be a lot more consolidation. And people will look for more and more organized players that bring together a level of standardization in either the pricing, the packaging, the offering. So we are introducing a product. We have in the last few months introduced a product called Cult Pass, and Fraternity enhances that product. It allows you access to any fitness center across India.
That's fantastic news. I know, especially here in Asia, yes, if you do have ClassPass as being the #1 brand, but we've also got a couple of other really interesting small aggregators, Together in Indonesia being one, Flexible Pass in Myanmar having some great success. So really good to see how India continues to develop that, Shamik. Let's talk a little bit about North America. Like you said, you are expanding globally, and North America has to be a market of interest. How large a market is that for you, and where do you see that market playing out in the next couple of years?
So it's a huge market. It's obviously also highly competitive. There are lots of players. They are very well funded and doing great work. You know, we see companies like Peloton, Tonal, Mirror, FutureFit, you know, Freeletics, you know, all of the FitOn, you know. So all of these companies are there, and they're doing a great job. We think that, you know, we offer a different access of innovation that is as much about content, which these guys do a great job of, but there is an access of interactivity and technology that, you know, we can bring to the fore, and that starts with computer vision but extends into other forms of detection as well, such as, you know, what we can detect with your fitness band or Apple Watch and so on. And how do you bring all of that together to make a highly interactive and social experience, right? So that has been our differentiation, and we're going to continue to double down on that, which is also why the Onyx acquisition is such a good fit, right? So I think all of these companies have different focuses in terms of the intensity levels, the kind of audience they're going after, and so on. And we think there's a large segment of users that our kind of product will appeal to.
Now, one of your initial pillars, of course, was Cult.fit, the club themselves, Shamik. Now, of course, they were closed throughout 2020. They are starting to reopen, which is very encouraging news as we're starting to see globally. Looking at the club market going forward, it is undergoing a change, and of course, this acceleration of digital will affect it. But how do you believe the club landscape will change in the future going forward? Will some things normalize? Are some things forever changed? How do you believe that's going to look like in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I think things will be muted, at least in India, for the next 6 months, but we are seeing slow and steady growth. And I would, no one never knows. There might be strains, there might be a second lockdown, who knows with this situation. So it's a completely new situation for everybody. But the trends seem to indicate that, you know, normalization, we should reach normalization if there's no untoward, you know, new developments by the second half of this year. So we're expecting that, you know, by second half of this year, our clubs will, our centers will all be open fully. They're mostly open right now, but there's, you know, utilization and capacity limits that we have put on them. But by the second half of the year, I expect that, you know, most of them will be open up at full capacity. What we have been positively surprised by is the user interest in going back to fitness centers has not diminished, right? In fact, there's probably a pent-up need. And all of these kinds of experiential products, right? Like what has happened, I think that will not revert, is that a lot of, for example, e-commerce has really had a boom. And so physical retail is going to have a difficult time, right? Because it's a commodity product. And if I have moved once online and I experience the convenience of that, then I probably am not going to shift back, right? But for things which are experiential, like restaurants or, you know, travel or, you know, fitness centers and so on, I think people are actually waiting for it to open up and things are getting back to normal so they can get back to their old life, right? And so I actually think in the long run, and by the long run, I mean toward the second half of this year, I think things will come back strongly. And hence we're making the investments now, expecting that recovery.
Now, 2021, very exciting for you, of course. You have the new corporate wellness focus. You have the continued expansion geographically. Where else are you chasing for future growth, Shamik? Where else do you think that Cure.fit can fit in with the global health conundrum?
So yeah, expanding globally is one big area, and you know, consolidating fitness. We have been mostly a group class format. That's what Cult.fit has been. But this year we're also expanding out into gyms and so on with our ClassPass like Cult Pass model, right? So that's the other big area of growth. Corporate is the third one. I think that these will be the three main areas of focus for the next year, year and a half, and so on. When we look forward beyond that period, right, and for that we'll start making, pilots and experiments and investments right now, is to, mental wellness is an area that I think is a significant one of growth over the next 3 to 5 years, right? And I think that is an area where we're continuing to look at and invest in. Not really sure how it'll pan out, whether it's more of a corporate product or a direct consumer product, but it's an area where I think a lot of growth is there, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's a very exciting space. I know there's a few people that are having mental apps coming up, meditation, mindfulness, etc. Also positivity, trying to measure this on a day-to-day basis. Very interesting space. One last question, Shamik, and we'll leave it there. Let's turn the spotlight back on yourself. Now, as a business leader, 2020 has been extraordinary, but of course, even before that, in this journey with Cure.fit, it has been a rocket ship in the past couple of years in terms of its growth, its ambition, its standing in the industry. How has this journey been from you, both up and down across this roller coaster these past couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2019 was just an amazing year. We grew, multiple fold. We raised a lot of money. Our valuation skyrocketed, and so on. And 2020 was obviously a difficult year for the industry, and so was it for us, right? But I think I'm quite proud of the way the team and the company has, withstood the difficult parts. And instead of just moaning about the situation, we've actually innovated and built out new products and grew in different areas as well that we talked about, right? So in that sense, a very challenging year, but also one that I think we'll look back upon years from now and say, okay, that was the time, and we actually started out new products that have now grown into, the next big areas of growth, both geographically, corporate, et cetera, right? So those are, so yes, it's a difficult year. From a personal front, right, it's been a mixed bag. I've got to spend a lot more time with family and at home and with the kids and so on. So that's the positive side. On the challenges, working remotely has many positives, but also, you just don't get the face time and the ability to thrash things out on a whiteboard and so on. COVID has affected our family as well. We had almost like 15 people in the extended family who got COVID, and the challenges with running through that. So it's been a mixed year. I hope the next few years are not as roller coaster as this one's been.
Well, Shamik, I want to thank you and Cure.fit for giving us all inspiration these past couple of years. It's incredibly exciting to see a new world leader from Asia emerge. And as these brands continue to grow, we must champion them. And so from everyone here at Fit Summit, everyone that we know in our network, Shamik, we wish you and the Cure.fit team all the very best, continued success, and look forward to seeing more good news flow in 2021. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Ross. It's been great.